All right, everybody. So before the video begins, I just wanted to say that the first half of this video is probably going to be a voiceover just because it was super cold out when I originally filmed for this review. And also, I'm trying to keep this review as information filled and professional as possible, so there will be no burnouts, no donuts, nothing like that. I'm trying to keep it professional so I can do more of these in the future. And, with all that out of the way, let's get this started. All right, here we have it. This is a 2017 Ford Mustang Shelby GT350, and if you've noticed the exterior of this car, it is finished in lightning blue metallic, and I do have to say, very, very nice color choice. But what I'm most interested in, and what a lot of people are most interested in, is the 5.2 liter V8 flat plane crank Voodoo, that Ford calls it. It pushes out about 526 horsepower at 7,500 RPM and 429 pound-feet of torque at 4,750 RPM. And it's mated to a Tremec 6-speed manual transmission, and I have to say, out on a limb here, I think that if this car was paired with the MT82, this car would have sucked real bad. But we're not gonna slander the MT82. That is for an entirely different video. This car also features 6-piston Brembo brakes, so if you're ever worried about stopping in this car, don't, because these brakes are absolutely amazing. It also has Magnerite suspension, so if you don't want the car to kill you, you can just put it in comfort mode and you'll be good to go. Along with that, it has adaptive dampers, so you can change your suspension feel pretty much on the fly, comfort mode, sport mode. It also has a factory strut tower brace and a nice big wing in the back for as much downforce as you could possibly want. This car also features engine oil, transmission oil, and rear differential coolers to keep your car nice and cool on the track while you're ripping it around. And speaking of the rear differential, this car actually had 373s instead of the standard GT's 331s. So you're getting a good setup on your rear differential from the get-go. And for the 2017 model years, Recaro seats were actually a factory option, and this car does have those Recaro seats. Another thing before I forget and we move on with the rest of the video, I just pulled up the tire sizes for this car from the factory. So from the factory, Ford spec, in the rears you're getting 305 35 19s, and in the fronts 295 35 19s. And the front tires on this car are actually the same width as the rear tires on my 14 GT, so it's kind of embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
So rest assured, you will have as much meat, as much contact patch as you will possibly need to propel this car around the corners. And with all of that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. All right, so now we are on the inside of the car, and I apologize because it's really cold outside. Now, this is a daily driven car. The guy that bought it did not buy it just to let it sit around. So I apologize if it's, not up to the most perfect spec. Anyways, we got the interior of the car. We're gonna start with the seats. So we got these factory Recaro seats. You got Recaro on the side, nice gray, white stitching on the outside, and then the GT350 embroidered into here. Really, really nice. You got your racing harness mounts so that your harness can come through here if you ever decide to take it to the track. The bolstering on these seats is very nice, very sturdy, but not too restrictive. You can still breathe. You can still kind of move around, but if you're throwing it around on the track, it's going to keep you planted in place. And then coming into the car, we have the Cobra emblem on the steering wheel, which is a very nice touch from Ford. Good job, Ford. But also, you kind of suck for discontinuing this car because it's awesome. And on the dashboard, you have the chassis number that your car was built on, which is H4601. You also have a nice brushed aluminum dash right here, trim pieces, very, very nice. The interior of this car definitely better than any Mustang that I've driven, so good on Ford for that. Again though, you kind of suck for getting rid of it. You have the Sync 3 system here, so you see this nice GT350 loading screen. Sync 3 is pretty much the same across every Ford that comes with it, so there's no real differences here. This does have the navigation package. It also has really nice sound system. I don't know why you would want to listen to the sound system when you can just listen to the engine. Speaking of engine, this car has a active valve exhaust. So you click this button here, you can change your exhaust one. So we got normal and we have sport. Normal is kind of, you know, if you want to be quiet for city driving or you have a long early commute to work. But sport, that's when you really want to, you know, get on it and make sure everybody knows, hey, I got a GT350 and I'm gonna make it known. And the exhaust on this car is arguably the best, in my opinion. I know some people are gonna get a little upset with this. Arguably the best of any American V8 that I know of. Simply because, I mean, it revs to 9,000 RPM, just about 9,000. And I mean, there's not a single point in the entire rev range where it does not sound just menacing. We're gonna go ahead and start it up. This is your key fob, keyless entry. It's just a push button start. So we're gonna make sure it's in neutral. Nice push button here. Now, another couple important features to go over. This is the most, or was, sadly, the most track-focused Mustang at the time. So we have on here, this is your steering feel, so we can go with a sporty feel. It makes the car, the steering, very, very touchy, very, very touchy. It's electric assist, so, you know, the motors and all the electronics will help you in doing so, and also in changing the feel. We have comfort, which it kind of feels in comfort mode, it feels like my Ford Fusion, which is a really nice driving car. We also have our different modes here. So we got sport, rainy weather, you know, if you decide to drive it in bad weather, you know, good on you. Track use, which will turn off your traction control. And we also have drag strip mode, which will enable your launch control. We also have line lock. We have the performance shift indicator. You can change your exhaust modes, accelerometer, lap times, your brake performance, and just gives you all of your track apps in one go. You can also access this through the menus. We're gonna go ahead and change the mode real quick. I'm gonna put it in sport. We also have a damper control. So this car has adaptive damping, and it will change depending on your driving habits, but you can also set it to a sport feel, and that will in turn help your handling. And all of this is absolutely accessible on the street. It's very fun on the street. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on normal. We got our drive mode in sport. Steering mode is normal. We're gonna go ahead and get on the road. All right, guys, so we are in the driver's seat of the GT350, and immediately what pops out at me right away is the shifter and how short the throws are. Trimming 6-speed in this car is absolutely, I mean, it is the best manual transmission car I've ever driven. And I mean, it is so much fun. All the car wants to do is go. I mean, there's so much power through the entire power band, and you can do whatever you want to do in this car. But I do have to say that if you're buying this car because you want it to go in a straight line, it's not a good idea. This car was not built for straight line performance. While it does do a good job and it cranks out a good amount of horsepower, it's really more meant for the track. So taking corners really hard or setting really impressive lap times. You don't want to buy this car and think that you're going to go up against Hellcats and you know, blown 5-liter Coyotes and stuff like that. Another thing that sticks out to me about this car is the clutch feel. There's the assist spring that I think most modern Mustangs have had since like 2011. The thing with the clutch on this car though is that the clutch spring does not feel intrusive on the clutch feel. It still feels like a clutch, but it does help the clutch come back up after being depressed. To be completely honest, I'm a Ford guy, right? So, I mean, when I got into driving this car, I knew that I was going to love it. It is everything that I want in a Mustang. Sadly, my Mustang is nothing like this car. It's good for straight line performance, but handling wise, you know, the handling characteristics of my 14 GT, this car would absolutely 100% blow that car, you know, out of the water. It is, like I've said probably a million times now, the best track focused car. Not just Mustang, but besides the Ford GT, when this car came out, this was the best track focused Ford that you could buy. You know, get rid of the Focus ST, the Focus RS, Fiesta ST, none of that compares to this car. All right, so I know I've been talking about the handling characteristics of the car. I'm gonna go up a nice turn here real quick. I'm gonna show you. Everything, every input that you make on the steering wheel, the car follows perfectly. And there is absolutely zero body roll. I mean, this car is so perfect. You know, this is, in my opinion, save for the GT500 and the 350R, the absolute best Mustang that you can get. And you absolutely should buy one. That is just, the car goes. I mean, it goes. Corners are nothing for this thing, and it has exceeded every expectation that I have had. If you're thinking about buying one of these cars, I absolutely recommend it. The resale value for these cars is always going to be high because it was limited production and because Ford discontinued it. So, you know, you're always going to have that value. Think of it as, you know, it's going to be a classic car in the near future, if not now. I mean, it is so good. I can't even explain it enough, and it's probably gonna get old, so I'm sorry for that. So, verdict is in. I have decided this is the best car of all time. And if you're gonna go ahead and buy one, I recommend buying one right now. I don't see the prices for these going down anytime soon, or pretty much at all, really. I think that they're just going to keep climbing. Low mileage cars will always have, obviously, a higher resale value. So, going to buy one, I absolutely recommend buying one. You are not going to regret the purchase. See you guys in the next one. If you have anything that you would like me to review or try to get my hands on, let me know and I will do my best. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.